All right, this is a video for measure of variability, 8-5, measure of variability. Remember that variability is the how something changes, how something is different, right? So if we're talking about a data set, how the numbers are different from each other, right? How it changes throughout. Goal. I can use measures of variability to describe a data set. So again, I can use measures of variability to describe a data set. This is your goal. If you can create, to find the measure of variability, which is the MAD and the IQR, and then use that information to describe the data set. Okay. Here are the vocabulary words. Vocabulary. I'm going quickly through this, but remember you can pause anytime. The first is something called absolute deviation. And remember the analogy that I had, like the explanation of like to deviate from the path. So if you've got that path that you're walking on, that's the path, that's the trail, and then you go off the trail, you've deviated from the trail. You're no longer on the trail, and you can measure how far away you deviated from the trail. So here's the trail. How many feet away were you away from the trail? It's the same thing here. We're going to find the deviations in a data set. And what that is the absolute value of the difference. Remember, the difference means subtraction. The difference between a value and the mean. The difference between a value and the mean. Remember, the mean is when it's a measure of center, right? So we're trying to find the center or typical value. In this case, we're finding the average or the mean. So when you find the mean, you subtract that from the a value in the data set to see how far away that value is to the average, to the mean. 2. We have something called the mean absolute deviation. Deviation. For short, we call this MAD. Mean absolute deviation. And the mean absolute deviation is once you have those deviations here that you've created, like you find the mean, you subtract it from the values, you get the deviations. Now you're going to add up all those deviations and then divide them by how many there are. That's what we call the mean, right? So you find the mean of all of the deviations. So I'm going to put the mean of all the deviations in a data set. And in 3, we have what's called the interquartile range. Interquartile range. And we abbreviate that as IQR. The interquartile range is the difference, which again means subtraction. The difference between the third and first quartile. So we have three new definitions here: the absolute deviation, the mean absolute deviation, and the interquartile range. However, they're new definitions, but we know what these are, right? Like the mean, we know how to find the mean. We know what quartiles are. We know what range is. The only thing that's really new is the absolute part, and then the deviation, and then the word, the beginning of the word quartile, the inter, right? So we know how to do all these things. We're just doing them in a new way. So let's find the mad. Mad. I'm going to give us a data set over here and give myself plenty of room to write that data set. It's 8 numbers long, but they're double-digit numbers. So I'm just going to put data. It doesn't really matter what this data set represents. It is grades, so I think I will put that. Let's see, we have 82% on the, these are test scores, 82%, 76, 92, 88, 99, 73, 90, and 88. So there's my data set. These are test scores. So pretty high scores. The first step when you're finding the MAD is to find the mean. Find the mean. I'm going to put a line here, just like that, to separate. All right, so I'm going to find the mean, which means I'm going to add up all of the values, and then divide by how many there are, and there are 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Absolutely. So what I do is I'm not going to take the time right now to add them all up. I guess I will. You guys can always fast forward through this. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. I've done these two, just like that. So now I take this number and I put it back on top, and I do 92. I'm going to add 92 to it. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. I've got 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1. That is 2. Do 250 plus 88, like that. Check mark there. 0 plus 8 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. 2 plus 1 is 3. And now I've got 338. And I'm going to add 99 to it. So I've got 9 plus 8 is 17. 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 3 plus 1 is 4. Put a check mark there. So now I've got 437 plus 73. 3 plus 7 is 10. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 4 plus 1 is 5. I'm going to come down here and continue. I would do that 510. And now I'm going to add 90 to it. So I get zeros. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. And then I have 600 plus 88. And 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 0 is 8. Bring down my 6. I've got 688. Whoops, you can't see that. So that's adding all of the values up. I've added every single one of these up. And I'm going to double check to make sure. So I've got I should have 8 values here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So now I'm going to take that 688 and I'm going to divide it by 8. 688 and divide by 8. 8 goes into 68 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. Subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. Bring down my 8. 8 goes into 48 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. So that means that my mean is equal to 86. Okay. I'm going to flip the page over because I don't have enough room. Here we go. Step 2. Again, you can pause and rewind and fast forward. I don't necessarily have to wait for anybody to get caught up. So let's see. Step 2. Step 2 is to find the deviations. Which means subtract the mean from each value. Okay. Again, I'm going to draw my line here so I can do my math. Over to the right-hand side, I'm going to take away 86 from each of the values. So you're going to see me use 86 throughout each one of these subtractions, okay? But I'm going to go through the data value. So the first data value is 82. I'm going to put the mean on top because it's the bigger number, and I'm going to subtract 82 from it. So again, 86 is my mean, 82 is my first value. 6 minus 2 is 4. So then I do the next one. I'm going to use my mean on the top again. The next value is 76. Subtract that, I get 10. My next value is 92, so I'm going to put 92 on the top. And I'm going to subtract 86. But you can see I still have 86, 86, 86 because I'm taking the mean and I'm subtracting it. This becomes 6. Then I move on to the next value, which is 88. Again, I'm putting 88 on the top because it's bigger, and I'm going to put the mean on the bottom. 8 minus 6 is 2. I'm going to continue. Now the next value is 99. So we'll do 99, and I'm going to subtract the mean from there. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 8 is 1, so I get a total of 13. Then I have the next value, which is 73. So I'm going to put 86 on the top this time because it's bigger than my value. 6 minus 3 is 3. 8 minus 7 is 1. Got back-to-back 13s there. Then I go on to the next value, which is 90. I'm going to subtract the mean from 90, and I get 4. And then my last value, because you can see there's 8, right? So here's 7, I get one more, 8th value, is 88, and we've already subtracted that. It's 2. 88, subtract the mean is 2. And you can see throughout each subtraction problem here, I've got 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86. That's my mean, right? I'm finding the deviation, which means I'm going to subtract the mean from each value. So each answer here, each difference here is the absolute deviation from the mean of each value. So then step 3 is to find the MAD, which means just find the mean, right? So we're going to find the mean of the deviations. So find the mean of the deviations. This is what we call the MAD, which is the mean absolute deviation. So I'm going to take all of these numbers here and I'm going to add them up and then divide them by 8. So 4 plus 10 is 14. So I'm going to put like a little underline here so I know which ones I've done. 14 plus 6 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. And then I've got 13 here. So I'm going to do 22 plus 13. It's 5, and that's 3. So underline that. Now I've got another 13 here. So I'm going to do 35 plus 13. 5 plus 3 is 8. 3 plus 1 is 4. So I do my 14. My 48. I'm going to add 4 to it. It's going to be 52. And then my last one here is 2. 52 plus 2 is 54. And so once we add all those up, we get 54, and we're going to do 54 divided by 8. Because remember, we're finding the mean. We add up all the values, and we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 values. We add them all up, and we get 54. Now we're going to divide them by 8 because there are 8 values in our data set. 8 goes into 54 6 times. Subtract this, and we get 6. I'm going to put my decimal and annex a 0. I get 60, so 8 goes into 60 7 times, which is 56. Subtract that, I get 4. Annex my 0. 40, 8 goes into 45 times evenly. So that means my MAD, my mean absolute deviation, is 6.75. Oops, you can't see that. And so what that means is my average score in the class was 86. And then the deviations from, the average deviations from that average score is about 6 points. So if the average score is 86% on a test, that means that the students overall deviated from that average score about 6.75 points. So they could have 6.75 points higher or lower, but on average, that's how far they deviated from the average score. Fun stuff. And then we got the IQR. This is going to go a lot quicker. So the IQR, the step one for the IQR is, well, before we do that, let's draw a, what are those called? You guys can't even answer me because you're not there. A box plot. So let's draw a box plot. You can't see that. There we go. we're gonna make this 78, and we're gonna go all the way to 84. 79, try to make them as equally spaced as you can, as always. Not that it really matters for this lesson, but you should always get in the habit of doing that. 83, and then 84. Okay, and now I'm gonna make the box plot here. So we're gonna draw a line at 78, a line at 79, a line at 80, a line at 82, and then 84. Make our box. And our, what they call whiskers. All right. Step 1 is to identify the first and third quartile. Identify the first and third quartile. And remember that these lines represent the statistical measures to make the box plot. So we've got our minimum, our first quartile, our median, our third quartile, and then our maximum. So our first quartile is right here, and our third quartile is right here at 82. Just like that. The second step is to find the difference between 82 and 79. There's a few different ways you can do that. One, you can just take 82 and subtract 79, or you can just count, right? What's the difference between here? Well, we got 1, 2, 3 spaces in between 79 and 82. The answer is 3. So step 2, is find the difference. Remember, difference means subtract. The answer to a subtraction problem. Find the difference between, between quartiles. Right, so we're going to take 82 and subtract 79. And I get 3. So that means my IQR is equal to 3. And that's it. So again, this is here to help you. So go back, rewind, fast forward, pause, all that jazz to help you get through the lesson. Okay. Yeah, and what the interquartile range tells us is the range between the range of the middle values of the typical average values, or in this case, I believe these are these can be test scores again, right? So it's like between the first and third quartile, we've got a 3-point range in points in these test scores. So the middle test scores, these students right here got between 70 and 82. So a 3-point difference. Yeah, there we go.